why timing, discipline, and order matter more than talent. A new year, season, or milestone makes us promise change. More discipline, better habits, clearer direction. But history shows that success is rarely about planning or talent alone. It's shaped by timing, order, and the choices made long before results appear. In this episode of Lessons Untold, we look at what Rockefeller and his generation can still teach us about building a life that lasts. Born into the same moment. How an age created America's greatest fortunes. Intro. John D. Rockefeller was not an accident of history. Neither were Andrew Carnegie, Jay Gould, or J. Pierpont Morgan. These four men, often portrayed as isolated geniuses, were born within a remarkably narrow window between 1835 and 1839. Andrew Carnegie, 1835, Dunfermline, Scotland. Jay Gould, 1836, Roxbury, New York. J.P. Morgan, 1837, Hartford, Connecticut. John D. Rockefeller, 1839, Richford, New York. Their timing mattered. They entered the world as the United States was undergoing one of the fastest and least regulated economic transformations in modern history. A transformation that made extraordinary fortunes possible. America in upheaval. Between 1820 and 1860, the American economy fundamentally changed. The Erie Canal, completed in 1825, reduced transport costs between the Great Lakes and New York City by over 90%, integrating regional markets for the first time. Railroad mileage exploded from 23 miles in 1830 to over 30,000 miles by 1860. Manufacturing output quadrupled. Banking expanded faster than regulation could follow. Markets were no longer local. Prices, credit, and speculation became national phenomena. Crucially, institutions lagged behind technology. There was no central bank after Andrew Jackson dismantled the Second Bank of the United States in 1836. Regulatory oversight was weak. Corporate law was still evolving. This environment produced volatility, but also opportunity for those who understood scale, leverage, and control. Not born rich. Despite later myth-making, none of these men were born into settled wealth. Carnegie grew up in near poverty, emigrating to the U.S. in 1848 after mechanization destroyed his father's weaving trade. Gould's family hovered between respectability and instability. Rockefeller was born into moral and financial uncertainty. Morgan, though better positioned, inherited exposure to international banking crises rather than security. What united them was not privilege, but early exposure to economic instability. The Panic of 1837. Their early childhood coincided with the Panic of 1837, one of the most severe financial collapses of the 19th century, triggered by speculative lending, collapse of state-chartered banks, the absence of a central stabilizing institution. The result, bank failures across the U.S., widespread unemployment, years of deflation and economic depression. Although they were infants or toddlers, the crisis shaped family behavior, attitudes toward money, and perceptions of risk. Historians consistently note that early exposure to financial instability deeply influenced later business psychology. The era of the making. These men matured during the rise of the self-made man ideology, popularized by figures like Horatio Alger later in the century. But the reality was harsher. Education was uneven. Rules were fluid. Success depended on timing, risk tolerance, ability to scale operations, mastery of emerging systems. Those who could impose order on chaos thrived. Those who relied on tradition or stability failed. This is where Rockefeller diverged sharply from his peers. The home Rockefeller was born into. John D. Rockefeller was born in 1839 in a small, sparsely furnished home in Richford, New York. His father, William Big Bill Rockefeller, was charismatic, frequently absent, engaged in speculative schemes, known later as a confidence man. His mother, Eliza Davison Rockefeller, was the opposite. Deeply religious, disciplined, morally uncompromising, focused on thrift and order. Rockefeller's early household included both legitimate children and his father's illegitimate offspring, an arrangement that exposed John early to hypocrisy, secrecy, and instability. This was not merely uncomfortable, it was formative. The Davison influence. When John was just 3 years old, Eliza moved the family closer to her parents, the Davisons, in Moravia, New York. Her father, John Davison, owned a paid-off farm and had surplus capital to lend, an important marker of stability in the 19th century. Rockefeller later remarked, "My grandfather was a rich man for his time." This model of wealth, modest, orderly, disciplined, contrasted sharply with his father's recklessness. Historians widely agree that Eliza's moral framework, reinforced by the Davisons, shaped Rockefeller's lifelong obsession with cost control, predictability, systematic organization. Why timing mattered more than genius. Rockefeller did not simply outthink his peers, he outorganized them. Gould exploited chaos, Carnegie mastered scale, Morgan stabilized finance. Rockefeller eliminated uncertainty. He standardized production, controlled pricing, and built systems designed to survive volatility. This mindset made sense only in an age where regulation was minimal, markets were expanding rapidly, discipline created dominance. These men were not just ambitious, they were products of their era. Conclusion: history loves to credit individuals, but individuals act within constraints. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Gould, and Morgan succeeded not because they were born exceptional, but because they were born at the right moment, into a world where opportunity and instability coexisted. Great fortunes are rarely accidents, but they are never detached from timing. If you value history, that explains not just who succeeded, but why it was possible. Subscribe to Lessons Untold, because understanding the past is the best way to see the present clearly. Lessons Untold. Relax, review, reflect.